Appreciate that, Mr. Dawson. I'm going to try to take my time today. This is my first media day, so I'm a little bit shook up, so bear with me. I'm definitely excited to be here. I want to thank the college for putting on this outstanding event. Dr. Bogart, this is outstanding. It's unbelievable. We really appreciate that. Kind of going back to my first media day, I was brought on as head coach, and I walked up to the podium, and I was thinking for a second there, I was waiting for questions to be tossed at me. I was like, these guys don't need to speak. And so I just jumped right in. And so I will take the time to kind of cover the basis of Averett University football. Before I move forward, I'd like to thank Rita, Mike Christie for putting on another great event. Again, just honored to be a part of this great coaching return. We just had our coaching meeting upstairs, and I found out right away that I'm in some pretty intense company. These guys are really good at what they do, and I've been involved in the league for quite a few years, but as an assistant. And I have no idea what you guys are going through as head coaches, and it just makes me appreciate what you've done and what you continue to do as I move forward in my new appointment. So I just want to say that you're a great group of men, and I think I'm going to learn a great deal from each and every one of you. The way we work upstairs, talk, and reason, it speaks volume about the character in that room, and these guys up here with me today. We have our work cut out for us in Denver, without a doubt. We had a couple tough seasons moving forward, but we understand what we need to do. Our focus and our process, and that's really what I want to kind of focus on, is the process. What we're looking to do there at Averett University. Dr. Franks, our Director of Athletics, Meg Stevens, unbelievable leadership on our campus. Great vision, great support, commitment to the university, and more important, the student body. And that's what I noticed when I interviewed there back in January. And I walked off campus and finished up my final session with Dr. Franks, and I knew right away that if offered the job, I was going to take that job because I really appreciate the people. The entire day on campus was very easy for me to navigate around each committee that I went to. It was a very easy interview process. And I knew right away that this was the type of community that I wanted to be a part of. Our vision at Averett University as an athletic department, not just a football program, the 3-2-1 vision that our Director of Athletics has laid out. We want each of our student athletes to achieve a 3.0, and that's asking a lot out of some of our guys. But you have to have a goal and you have to measure against it. We want to be top 2 in the USA South. Year in and year out, it means you're competing. And then we have a one-team concept on our campus that I really have embraced because it's what I'm all about, being part of a community. One team in our athletic department, we all help one another. It's the ultimate small college experience that Ms. Stevens is developing there in our athletic department. We help each other out in terms of working concession stand duties, even for community service. We logged just shy of 3,000 hours at an athletic department, not just what football's out there doing, but the entire athletic department last year logged just under 3,000 hours of community service in the city of Danville. So that speaks a lot about where the institution is going and how committed we are to the community. And I think that just bleeds back into our football program and what we're trying to ask our young people to do as they move forward in their college experience. My coaches. I'd like to take an opportunity to just mention my coaches. When I took on the job, I had no earthly idea what it was all about to put together a coaching staff. And I was blessed with a couple guys that were still left over from the old staff. And then I had to go out and I had to go find some coaches to complete my staff. And what I've learned over the course from January to now is that that group of guys that I have surrounding me, they're unbelievable. were productive people. They love young people. They come to work day in and day out. I've worked their tail off all summer long because not knowing exactly what direction I'm going to go in, so they're sticking right in there with me. And traditionally, you get a little bit of time off in Division III in the summer, but not in Denver. You know, we've been working. We've been working tirelessly. And I just appreciate those guys so much, and I look forward to working hand in hand and side to side with those guys in the upcoming season. My kids are playing at Averett University. If you know me and you spend any time around me, it's all about the student athlete. All about the student athlete. I inherited a really quality group of young people at Averett University. They could have laid down and just felt sorry for themselves in the 80 days they were without a head coach. When I stepped foot on campus, I knew right away after about a couple of weeks that we had some high character young people who absolutely love Averett University. And they held that program together, and they relied on one another to get it done. And all I had to do was put my hands on the steering wheel and provide some direction and uphold the standard that we are keeping there in this program moving forward. I have nothing but respect for those young people. We're focusing on mentor leadership. We always talk about leadership in a program. And you kind of miss the boat because you're talking about what are you doing out of the field? What are you doing in the weight room? But a mentor leader, he's concerned about his friend. He's concerned about his fellow man. Not just what he's doing on the field and how he's lifting weights and how he's catching balls and making tackles. He's concerned about that person as an individual. And that's my focus. I've been studying Tony Dungy's book, and it's kind of my constant read. I've been through it twice. Just to continue to remind myself about how I want my young people to act and support one another. Ownership of the football program. It's something we fight all the time. Be responsible for each other. I was talking to Coach over there, Coach Kelsey, he said, Coach, just stick with your convictions and what you believe in. Ask him about any words of encouragement. He said, just stick with what you believe in. You know what to do. And what I believe in is young people. I believe in holding those young people accountable to realize their potential. And that's what we're going to focus on at Averett University. X's and O's will come and go. But without the right people, you're going to struggle to be competitive in this league. From a football perspective, guys, we just want to create competition day in and day out. Hold these young people to a high standard, on and off the field. Concentrate on being the best teammate you can be. I had my first run-in with one of my players in February, and he kept reminding me how good he was, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm not concerned about how good you are. I defended you. I know what you're all about. I'm concerned about how good of a teammate you can be. And I have a quote of the day. We have 2 monitors in the weight room and the locker room that we kind of put up messages each day, and I ran across the message, not concerned about having the best players in my locker room, I'm concerned about having the best teammates. And I kept that QOD up there for the remaining part of the spring, and it will never leave. Because in Division III athletics, it's about being the best teammate, loving your institution, playing for the pure love of the game, and being part of something bigger than yourself. And that's what we're going to concentrate on there at Averett University. In terms of our players, I know everyone wants to kind of hear about personnel and things of that nature. I think from the quarterback position, we have 2 seasoned guys that have been around the block. They know their way around the college football game. And we look forward to those guys being highly competitive and figuring out and identifying who's going to be the guy in Kirkland Brown and Mark Smith. And we also have a handful of young people on the roster and some guys coming in that will help create some depth. And, you just have to play it out and see. Our running back position is probably the strongest trio that I've seen in a while. They're pretty good, and each individual at any given time can make an impact on the football game if we do the things we need to do up front. Our wide receiver core, very diverse. Each individual has a unique quality about him that he's going to bring something interesting to the party. And I think in terms of recruiting class, that might be one of our stronger positions. Our tight end position can be very interesting for us. I'm a tight end guy. Brady, maybe you believe it or not, but you guys do a great job with that. And we're definitely trying to focus in on that position. And we have some guys that we feel like that are going to be pretty good. Chaz Norman being one of our top guys in that position. And offensive line is probably the thinnest that we are in terms of depth. And we have some building to do. And we're going to rely on some young people to come and make an impact sooner rather than later. So we're excited about that. Special teams, we have two young men who are just specialists. Long snapper and Andrew Coleman and Hobie Proctor, our place kicker. Those guys are so passionate about what they do. And I'm just excited about how they're going to impact the football game in that 1/3 portion of the game. Defensively, linebacker, we have to identify quickly and create some depth in that position. We have bodies that I'm very excited about there. Defensive line may be a position on this football team that we have some pretty significant depth. And I'm excited about that group, and the possibility of that group is showing great leadership because they've been around and been on the college field. In the secondary, at corner, we're a little bit thin, but Dante Gilbert, I think, had an unbelievable spring, and I'm very pleased with what he did. And then our safeties, again, may be a group that we look to lean on in terms of game day experience and leadership, play in and play out. So that's kind of in a nutshell what's going on in Danville. Again, I appreciate this opportunity, and I'll just look forward to a great season. Any questions?
First season going into the head coach position, as far as recruiting efforts, how would you like to find this past recruiting class and then the new places that feel all new?
Well, I arrived in Danville in late January, so we were like 80 days behind in terms of the recruiting process. We had a handful of guys on campus and kind of hold things together. And we hit the ground running, and we feel pretty good about the group that we have coming in. I know that we, wide receiver-wise, we have a group of young men that we feel like that will make an impact in a hurry. Riles Bennett, a local product of GWM, just an explosive player. KJ Walker, young man out of Florida, who's an explosive player. But again, as a freshman, the learning process is something that you have to overcome. You have a young man, Heath Gilmore, out of South Carolina, who scat back, especially. I'm excited about him. And I can go on and on and on about some of the key positions in terms of our freshman class. We feel pretty good about what we identified and what we were obviously able to attract.
Coach, what was most difficult about getting such a late jump in terms of...
What was it? I'd say, honestly, as a young assistant, you think you know what's going on. And then you step into that role with everything that happens in that office comes back to you. Every question that needs to be answered, particularly early on, all the way down to things that I've just taken for granted. Equipment, inventory, understanding what you have in your program, what you don't have, what you need to order. And then, I think for the most part, learning my kids, learning their names, and who they are, and where they come from, and what motivates them. Because for me, that's where everything starts. And all of my focus and all of my energy was pretty much geared toward trying to understand my football team and hit the ground running that way, because without those guys, I can't do what I do. And if I were to go another direction and start putting all of my eggs in another basket, I would not have been happy with my existence as the head coach at David University, because I'll keep going back to, at the end of the day, it's about those kids to me. And developing those young people and giving those guys an opportunity to be successful and realize their potential. So that was the big challenge for me. I'm a name guy. I want to know who you are. I want to know mom, I want to know dad. so that was huge, and it might not equate to wins and losses, but relationships, it's priceless. Priceless. And they needed to trust me and understand that I had their back and their best interest in mind right out of the gate. That was absolutely critical. Well, thank you.